Hey, sixth grade. So I figured what we do during this virtual week is just give you a little sneak peek as to what we're going to be doing when everybody finishes their musical. I know the group that was watching Annie, you guys are done. The group watching Matilda, you were almost done. And the group watching Wicked, you were also almost done. Unfortunately, Mr. Soul's class, you guys still need to choose who your champion's going to be because there's been so many Mondays I haven't been able to see y'all. So that'll be the first thing we do. Y'all are going to be watching y'all's musical, and then the other classes, once they finish theirs, the ones that finish theirs will have some stuff for you guys to do. Once everybody is finished their musicals, then we are going to jump into your Prodigy's bells, because we have worked on the blue belt so far when you did the crazy HCB song, and now we're moving into your red belt. So I figured I could give you a little sneak peek of that. That way, those who watch this video, which I hope everybody does while we're out for this virtual week, will already have a little bit of that knowledge before we get started on it. So you guys ready? All right, here we go. Okay, so I've shared my screen so you guys can see what I'm talking about. Now, if you remember, here is the blue belt that we had last time. And if you remember your notes, remember that this bottom line of our staff was an E. And then if I go down below the staff like that, I get a D. But this one in this space right here, the bottom space, that was an F for the purposes of that song. We had to actually call it an F sharp for Crazy HCB. Now, what we're going to be looking at for your red belt is this particular song here. So we're now going to be using that E, D, and F sharp that you learned for the blue belt, but now we're going to incorporate the first three notes you guys learned when you guys had recorders back in third grade, and that was your G, your A, and your B. And remember, this is just a quick preview, sneak peek as to what we're going to be doing with your red belt when you guys get back. So because we are using the F sharp and our C major bells over here on our Prodigy's bells don't have an F sharp, they in fact just have the regular, like just regular boom whacker notes, you just C all the way up. There's no F sharp there. We are in fact going to need to use the chromatic bells for this song because you're going to be utilizing the F sharp. But the other thing about this song on these bells, we're going to be using the G up to here. But notice there's not an A or a B on that bottom line, which kind of makes things a little tricky. So that means when you do the G, the A, and the B, what I'd actually like you to do is use this G, that A, and that B, okay? So you'll be using your D, E, and, oh my bad, D, E, and F sharp down here, but your G, A, and B will happen up here. So not using this bottom G, we won't be using this guy down here. We're just going to ignore him, okay? So let's get into our song as to what it looks like here. And here at the beginning, notice we have two notes. Some of the first notes that you learned, they're on the second line. We've talked about treble clef notes before, so everybody should know that this is a G. There you go. Second line is G. So let's put our G under. That more looks like a 6 than a G. I'm doing the best I can here, you guys. All right, so we actually start with two Gs. And let me come back over here to this. Two Gs. Like that, okay? Super simple. And then our next note in the space, if that's a G, remember when you get to G in music, you always start back over at A because there's no H in music. So we're going to go on put our A here. So now we have G, G, A. Okay. And yeah, that does say Yankee Doodle. So because fifth grade last year, if we've been regular at the beginning of the year, we would actually learn this. But you know, it's okay. And I think those who did the videos, you may have actually learned this if you did my virtual videos at the beginning of the year. So now our next note, as you can see here, is going to be a B. That's right, because if that one's in A, then that must be a B. So the beginning of your song sounds like this. G, G, A, B. Okay? And we're looking for that Yankee Doodle melody by the time we get done. All right, now we go from a B. We're skipping over the A to drop ourselves down to a G, that's right. back up to a B, and I'm going through this quick because remember this is just a preview. Back up to the B, but this time, oh, that's a horrible B. Let me see if I can get a little, there we go. This time, instead of skipping down to a G by skipping over that space note, I'm going to be stepping down to the A. The arrow is not pointing in the right direction, so oops on that. Let me see if I can fix that arrow a little bit there. Mess my B up. Oh, let's put the B back. B. And then see if I can get my arrow a little more correct this time. Woo, that's a little better. Okay, so we skipped down to a G earlier, back up to a B. Now we're stepping to an A. And the reason I'm saying skip versus step, because if I am skipping a note, that means I'm skipping over a note. B, skipping down to G, skipping back up to B. But if I'm simply stepping down the note, that means I'm going from one note to the very next note. So there's the difference between a step and a skip in music. So now down here, I have skipped to my A. So let me write my A in. But notice what happens here. And this is where things are going to get a little tricky when you're actually trying to play them on the bells themselves. Because from that A that I have to now skip down to the space note, which we said was a what? Now, if you said F, you're halfway correct. Yeah, it is an F, but it's not a regular F because of this guy here. Remember from our crazy HCB, we said that these sharps right here mean that certain notes, whenever you get to them, they're supposed to be a little bit higher than their regular counterpart. So notice on this, it's sitting on the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th line. Every good boy does fine. 5th line. So that means every F I come across is in fact an F sharp. So this measure is going to sound like this. I'm going to go G. Oh my, that was an A. My apologies. G, B, A, and then I got to jump down F sharp. So my first two measures are going to sound like this. Did you hear that? Yeah. And notice that it pretty well repeats the first measure here. So I'm going to go like I did a minute ago, but then our pattern changes just a second, or for just a measure here. So now I've got a G, but how many beats are we actually holding that G? Because it's not shaded in, so that means it's going to last longer. That's right. We're going to be holding it for 2, okay? So, and then I step down to my F sharp. Again, I know I'm going through this fast, but this is just a preview. I got to make sure to put my sharp sign there because that is in fact an F sharp, not a regular F. So now my song from the beginning sounds like this. And notice I lingered on that G for just 2 beats before I moved into the F. All right, and then again, this seems to be our basic pattern we have. It's occurred a 3rd time in our song. That was wrong. Okay, our basic pattern here. But then this is where things also begin to change, and we have the addition of a new note. All right, so you may remember this note. Well, you may not remember this note because we started with this song. So just to let you know, if this is a B on the 3rd line, and this guy is in the 3rd space, that means he has to be C. That's right. Okay, so that means we'll be using this little C right here when we play that one. All right, and then it just continues down. Again, this is just a little preview, so I'm just going to go through these quick. B, A, G. Gee golly, it starts to look like it's following the alphabet backwards here. Oh, I got to put my little sharp sign in. Oh, that's not really looking sharp. So that's good enough. And then, now from here, I've skipped over the bottom line, and my note is not going from F sharp to E like we had in our previous song, F sharp to E. And in fact, it's going from F sharp to this note that is below the staff. And if you recall back here, we said that if this line was an E, if we go down below that, we in fact get D. So I'm going D, Then I have an occurrence of the E as I walk myself back up. It's a really horrible E, but whatever. Back up to the F sharp. And I got to put my little sharp sign here. Here, let me get rid of that real quick, okay? And then we end with a couple of G's. And how many beats are each of those G's going to be worth? They are both going to be worth 2. That's right. So my ending is going to sound like this. And I'm starting here at this note. So here's the ending. Oh, that was wrong. There you go. And really and truly, when you play this, if you're going G, G, and you just happen to play the G that's at the bottom of the screen, that's actually the exact same note as that G up there. These are the same note. There's no difference between those two notes. So if it makes it easier on the end to do this G at the bottom as opposed to jumping up like I did, you can do that. So now I'm going to show you what the whole thing sounds like. Oh, that was wrong. G, F sharp. Last part. Walking it down. Now hit the F sharp. F sharp again. G, G. And I just went ahead and used the G at the bottom because we have that choice. We might as well use it if it's more convenient for our pattern that we're doing. So that's kind of what we're looking at. And notice that I kind of had a little oops somewhere in there. So when you guys do your belt test, remember I always tell you it doesn't have to be 92, it doesn't have to be perfect. It's just 9200% correct. If you have a little oops, if you just plow through it and just kind of correct as you go, we're totally good with that. All right, so hopefully that was a fun little sneak peek into your red belt and what we're going to be working on after that. And then we've got some things we're going to be doing with the iPads and creating scenes for movies and stuff like that. And we'll eventually work our way into the brown belt, which I can kind of, let's see if it'll let me turn. We can work into the brown belt and then the black belt, which that's black belt for a reason because it gets a little trickier as we go. All right, so I hope you guys enjoyed that little sneak peek. Make sure you take the quiz that I've put underneath this video on your Schoology page, and I will see you guys when we get back from this virtual stuff. Can't wait for you to get it back in the classroom so we can continue your music learning. Bye, you guys.